Hello and welcome back to the CSS class. My dear friends, I'm sure you had a lot of fun in the last class understanding about CSS selectors. If in case you recollect, CSS selectors were broadly classified into two types, basic and advanced. About basic, we have understood in great detail. Now it's time for us to focus on the advanced selectors of CSS. There are different types of advanced selectors, but I would like to begin with the child selectors. Let me tell you, under the child selectors, child selector has been categorized into two types primarily. One is called as descendant and another is called as direct child. Now, what do these words really mean? Let me give you an example to clear all this doubt at the back of your mind. Let me first show you the HTML page which I have. If I take you to my browser, this is the HTML page which I have and which is something we had used previously as well, right? Clearly there is no styling. Now, I want to show you the code associated with this. So if I take you to my editor, this is the HTML code. As you can see, there is a style tag, but there is no style inside. So there is no styling I've applied as of now. But to understand child selectors and below that the meaning of descendant and the meaning of direct child, I have to convert this HTML document into an HTML tree for you. So let's start tracing. Begin with HTML. Inside HTML, I further have a tag called as the head tag. So head. Inside head, there are two other tags, title followed by style, right? Next, inside HTML, I have the body tag. Next, inside the body, I have a div tag, right? Now, inside div, see how I'm showing it? Inside div, I further have h1 followed by p. Inside p, I have span. Inside p I have span, right? So I'm showing span as well. Then inside div itself I have another h2 tag followed by a ul tag which is an unordered list, and inside the ul I further have its own li elements. Did you see how I created the tree? Similarly, there is another division, its elements, another division, its elements, and hence if I complete the tree, this is how the tree would look like. Any confusion till this point of time? However, now let us make sense of this word called as child first and foremost. See, please understand, any HTML element which comes inside another element is technically called as a child element, right? So let us start with this div. If you look at this div, there are elements directly inside div. There are elements which is inside div and further inside another tag such as ul, as you can see the tree. Now you must understand any element which falls inside another HTML tag technically is called as its descendant, right? You can think of it like a family tree. This was the first person in the family. Everyone else are his descendants. Div is the first member. Everyone inside div are its descendants. Any confusion till here? Now I want to select all the div tags in my HTML file and I want to color all of its descendants as background color yellow. How will I do this, right? So did you clearly see that there is a relationship which I'm trying to establish here? Now how are we going to do this? First and foremost, now that this tree is crystal clear to you, let me show you how you can be styling it. Before styling, I want to just remove this tree for the time being. See, if you have to really understand advanced selectors, understand relationship between selectors, you now have to understand another word called as combinators. Within combinators, there are a few symbols like this. Each symbol has a meaning associated with itself like this. Now, look at this and tell me which one are the one you are interested in. What did I tell you? We want to select the descendants of div, isn't it? And which is the operator or the symbol here which establishes descendant relationship? It is a space. Any confusion till this point of time? So watch and understand carefully, my dear friend. To better get a clarity about how the output would look like, let me bring my output as well as my editor in the same frame for you. Now you must understand this. Watch it. I want to go inside every div, its descendant h2. Its descendant h2 element I want to select. Now, if I inspect my HTML page, watch it all of you. If I inspect my HTML page, this is my first division, web development. This is my first division. In that, which is the descendant h2? If you ask me, this is the descendant h2, technologies to be learnt in web technology. This is the descendant h2. Like that, in the second division, also technologies to be learnt in AI is there. Similarly, in the third division also, technologies to be learnt. If I scroll it down, you can clearly notice technologies to be learnt in cybersecurity. Now, in every div tag, its descendant h2 I want to select, which means in every div tag, its descendant h2 I want to select. How are we going to do this? And how are we going to write CSS for it? So, watch it all of you. I will go inside style. And there inside style, what I'm going to do is think carefully. First, I will tell div, right? And then what I should tell is, hey, go inside every div and find h2, which is a descendant. So, I will tell h2 also. I'll just tell h2. Now, between div and h2, I need to establish this relationship that they are descendants. How do you do that? By leaving a space. The moment you leave a space, how your HTML or your CSS compiler is going to interpret this is that I need to find div inside this HTML document, and I should go inside div and find descendants, which is h2. So div is also a selector, h2 is also a selector, but the relationship between them is h2 is a descendant of div. Any confusion till this point of time? I'll put the declaration. And there I will tell background color yellow. If in case I do this, it will go here, see, div, find its descendant h2, color it. Div, find its descendant h2, color it. Scroll down, div, find its descendant h2, color it. Will this happen? Watch it. I'll go there, and if I refresh, there you go. Perfectly it works. Any confusion till this point of time? Now, you must understand, a descendant can be anywhere inside its parent. A descendant can be anywhere inside its parent. If I take you back to my tree, I want you to understand, if I take you back to my tree, this was the tree, right? Now look at the first div. Inside the first div, all these tags are there. h1, p, inside p span, followed by h2, followed by ul, followed by li. All of them are there. All of them are the descendants. It need not be directly inside div. Even if it is inside ul also, this is also descendant of div only. Or really, you might ask, prove it, you might tell. Very simple. I'll go back to my output screen. There what I'm going to do is, see, now I want all these list elements or all this entire list to be colored in yellow. I want, or let us color it as red. How are we going to do this? If you ask me, very easy. I'll go inside style. I'll press enter. Now, between two selectors, I want to establish relationship. One is div, another one is ul, or my unordered list. But what should be their relationship? Or I will not tell ul, I will tell li. Because ul is anyways directly inside div. I'll tell li because li is inside ul, it's not directly present. Right? So, between div and li, I want to establish a relationship. What is the relationship? Li must be a descendant of div. How do you do that? Leave a space. That's all. Put the declaration, and I will tell background color should be red. If I do this, then watch it. This will go here, go inside div, and it will see if there is any descendant called as li. Yes, 3 li's are there. It will color it red. It will go inside div, and it will check if there is any descendant called as li. Yes, there are li's. 5 li's are there. It will color it. It will scroll down. It will find another div. It will find descendant li's. It will color it. Will this happen? Watch it. If I just go, and if in case I refresh, colored, colored, and colored. Any confusion till this point of time? So it works. Did you understand the meaning of descendant? Inside a tag, if there are other tags, all of the tags are descendants. Whether it is directly inside or indirectly inside, does not matter. They are descendants nevertheless. Any confusion till this point of time, my dear friend? I hope descendants is crystal clear to you. But what do you mean by a direct child? Now that could be another question at the back of your mind. For that, let me take you back to my tree. This is the tree. Now think about it. I have div, right? Inside div, I have h1. Now tell me, is h1 directly inside div or is h1 inside another element present inside div? No, it's directly inside. If anything is directly inside, it is a direct child. So h1 is a direct child, right? Similarly, p is a direct child. But span is not a direct child because it is inside p. Which means, is it a direct child or is it a descendant? 100% if you understood the previous topic, you know it is a descendant but not a direct child. Further, if I come down, I have h2. Is h2 a descendant or a direct child? It is a direct child. A direct child is a descendant, but a descendant need not be a direct child. Did you understand? Vice versa does not work out. Now that you understood the difference between what is a descendant and what is a direct child, let me tell you, this is what I want to do. This is my tree, right? There are 3 div tags. Inside each div, there is an h1. Look at the h1s inside the 3 divs and tell me, are they direct childs or are they descendants? Clearly, if you have eyes, you can see that it is directly inside div, which means it's a direct child. Now, I want to select all h1s present inside divs, which is a direct child of div. How do I do that? Well, for that, you have to establish a relationship between div and h1. Let me remove the tree for a second and let me bring up my combinators. Look at the list of combinators and tell me which will help you establish a relationship that this is a direct child of this. How will you do that? Simple. The symbol here is greater than, and that is what we are going to use. Now, before I apply the selector, let me take you to my output screen so that you can see the output and the code in one screen, right? Wonderful. Now, I'll scroll back on top. What did I want to do? All h1s, which is inside div and which is a direct child, must be colored. And maybe I will make the background color as gray. Any color you can choose. So see how I'm going to do. I'll come after my last style and there I will tell first div. Then I will tell h1. But what should be the relationship between them? It should be a direct child. What is a combinator? Greater than. Any confusion? Declaration I will put. Leave space to the left and right of greater than so that clearly it is visible to you. Any confusion till this point of time? Now I'll come inside that and I'll tell background color should be gray. If I do this and if in case I go and I refresh, as you can see, every direct child has got selected. But you need proof that this selector will only select direct childs and not descendants. You need proof. For that, what I am going to do is very simple. I will come inside my first div, right? And after that list /ul, I will press enter and there I will put one more h1. And inside that I will tell dummy header like this. Okay. Now tell me, as of now, this dummy header, if I just refresh it, you can see it will come, dummy header. Did that also get styled? Yes. Why? Because it is a direct child. But what if it becomes a descendant? Let me cut that. Where am I going to paste it if you ask me? I don't want it to be a direct child. So what I will do is, I will make it a descendant and not a direct child. How am I going to do that? I will put it inside another tag. Which tag if you ask me? Watch it. I'll put a span tag. And inside that span tag, I will paste it. Right? Now, watch it all of you. If in case I go and refresh my page now, clearly you can see that this dummy header did not get selected. Why did it not get selected if you ask me? Let me take you to my HTML code. If whatever change I made, I should reflect it in my tree, then previously this dummy header was directly inside, but now it is inside of span. Span is a direct child, but not the dummy header. Obviously, this direct child selector will not be applied for it. But if in case I made it a descendant, watch it, if I go back to my output screen and if I change the combinator from greater than and if in case I made that as a space. Now, what does that mean? Space means it is a descendant. which means even this h1 is a descendant, even this h1 is a descendant, irrespective of whether it is directly inside or whether it is indirectly inside does not matter, and if in case I refresh, it works. But if I change that combinator and I make it as a greater than symbol, which means direct child relationship, now if I refresh it, dummy header does not get selected. I hope the difference is crystal clear for each and every one of you. So you understood how to select descendants, how to select direct childs. Two combinators in the process you understood. One is a space, which is for descendant, and other is a greater than, which establishes direct child relationship, right? Now let us move forward and understand the remaining two combinators and where we would be using it. Stay tuned. Now that you have spent some time trying to understand the different types of CSS selectors, both basic as well as advanced, now I would like to test your knowledge. My dear friend, let me show you the output of my web page, right? This is the output. If I increase the size a little bit, you can notice like this I have h1 header and I have different p statements like this. Okay, I'll reduce it back to its original size. Now, what is here is not important. What I'm trying to show you is, let me show you the code behind this HTML page. This is the HTML code. Now, understand the code. HTML tag, head tag, inside the title I've left it empty. Maybe I will just give the title as exmp like this, or example. I'll just give the title as example like this, right? Great. Now I have linked it to an external child sheet. That's why we're going to write our CSS called as index.css. Wonderful. Next is a body. Inside the body there is a h1 tag, then there is a p tag, then there is a division. Inside the division there is another p tag, then there is a p tag inside a span tag, then there is another p tag below that which is inside another span tag, then there is another division, right? Inside that there is a p tag, inside that further there is another p tag inside a span tag, like that there is another p tag inside a span tag, then there is a p tag, after which the division ends, followed by a p tag outside the division, followed by the p tag outside the outer division. So there is a division inside a division. Any confusion till this point of time? Also, if you notice, for this p tag an ID has been provided. For this div tag there is no ID. But for the div tag, inside the div tag, a class has been provided. So these are few things I want you to keep in mind. Now, if I have to represent this as an HTML tree, this is how the tree looks like. HTML, inside that head, inside head title, as well as style. After that body, inside body there is h1, followed by p, followed by div, inside div a p. After that inside div a span, inside span a p, another span, inside that another p, followed by another division, inside that division another p. Now inside that division, inside span another p, again inside that division, inside span another p, then a p inside the division. Then I come outside the division, and inside the first division or the outer division there is another p. And then inside the body, outside the division, there is another p. Now this is the structure, right? Now let me take you to another screen. Now what I am showing you here is, this is the HTML file, this is the external index.css file, and this is my output. Here if you notice, I have put few CSS comments. Now how do you comment in CSS if you ask me? It's a slash followed by a star and then a star followed by a slash. That is how comments work, right? So now what we have to be doing here is very simple. We are now going to take whatever is written in the comment and achieve that in the form of CSS. Didn't understand what I'm trying to say? Let us start simple, right? If you notice, the first thing is telling, style the background color of the body as gray. How are you going to write CSS for that? Simple. He is only telling, style the background color of the body as a. So which selector will you use? The simplest selector here will be the body or the element selector. Which is my element? Body, circle body. Followed by a declaration. Inside the declaration, I'm going to tell background color, and he's only telling me background color has to be gray, so I will put gray. I'll put a semicolon. If in case I refresh, then you can notice this has happened. So whatever was the first expectation, I have satisfied. The second expectation is telling, style the background color of h1 header as yellow and color as red, which means he is telling this h1 header, right, which is nothing but this tag, this h1 header, I should color its background color should be yellow and the font color should be red. Well, that is also quite straightforward. There is only one h1 here, which means I can select it based on the element. So I'll use an element selector by telling h1. Next, I'll put my declaration. Inside that, I'll tell background color is yellow and color is red, like this. Any confusion till here? If in case I refresh, my second expectation is also satisfied. Now, as I am continuing to solve this, you must pause, read the question and try to attempt it on your own, and then unpause and see if whatever I am speaking and whatever you have arrived at is the same, right? Anyways, next expectation. Style the background color of all the P's outside div as powder blue and color as black, which means there are many P's. Out of the many P's, I have to color or style all the P's which is outside div, which means there is a div, inside that there is another div. But if you look at the P's outside, this is a P which is outside, this is a P which is, this last P is outside. So there are two P's outside. First one, last one, right? Which means see, P outside div, P outside div. These two should be colored. Now, how am I going to select only those two P's which is outside all div? Give it a thought. If in case you are able to do it, congratulations. If not, simple, my friend, right? What is he telling? Outside div. Okay, it's outside div. But it is inside some other element. Which element? It is inside body, right? Now, if in case you really understood, tell me, what is the relationship between body element and these P elements inside the body? Very simple. They're all inside means they're descendants. Would you agree? But do I want all the descendants to be styled, or do I only want things which is directly inside the body to be styled? Because as you can see, these P's are directly inside the body. They're directly inside the body. If I just write a CSS selector which will select all the descendants of my body, that would be a mistake. So I should tell, hey, listen, I want these P's which are direct childs, directly inside the body. Now, how will you establish a relationship? That's simple. First, I will use a selector. I will tell body. Next selector I want is P. You remove the space. The next selector that I want is P. Now, between both of them, I should establish a relationship. What is the relationship? It should be a direct child. Only then it means it is directly inside the body and outside div. How do you establish the relationship? You should use a combinator. Which combinator will you make use of? You should make use of the direct child combinator, which is nothing but greater than. So greater than I will put. Leave space on the left and right. Any confusion? I will give a declaration. Inside that, whatever he's told I will do, which is background color has to be powder blue and the color has to be black is what he's telling. Oh, sorry, has to be black. Color is black. If I do this and if in case I go and execute it, you can notice all the P's outside div have got selected. These kind of exercises is what will make you good at CSS. And of course, even in your assignments, in your quiz questions, etc., I would have given a number of questions which is going to test your ability like this, right? But I want you to form the approach with me. Wonderful. Let us look at it so far. Again, try it on your own first, then listen to me. Assuming you have tried, I am continuing. Style the background color of all P's inside div as orange and color as blue. All he is saying is all P's inside div. He did not say that it should be directly inside, or he did not say it should be indirectly inside. He did not say anything, which means this P qualifies, this P also qualifies, this P also qualifies, this P also qualifies. Inside div there is another div. Those P's also qualify. In other words, from this opening to this closure of div, all P's inside qualify for this styling, because style the background color of all the P's inside div as orange and color as blue. So if it is a P, it is inside div, it should be colored. How are we going to do it? Simple. If something is inside another element, tell me, what is it called as? It is called as a descendant. It could be directly inside or inside another element, but it is still a descendant, which means I will tell, hey, div and P I will tell. Now I should establish a relationship between both. What is a relationship? Descendant. And how will you establish descendant relationship? It is by using space. So I will leave a space. Put the declaration. And there I am going to tell the background color. Background color, his expectation is orange, and then his expectation of the text color is blue. I will do that. If in case I do that, watch it. All, see, P directly inside div, P inside span inside div, P inside span inside div, P directly inside div, P inside nested div, P inside span inside nested div. All this should be selected. And if I do that, there you go. Any confusion till this point of time? I hope you're understanding the power CSS provides. This is your imagination. This is the product of it. Now, next one. I hope all of you are with me, right? And you're also trying parallelly. Next, style the background color of all P's directly inside div as cyan and color as brown. Now, he's adding an extra constraint. P's directly inside div, right? Which means, let us see which and all qualify. If I take this div, right? This P is directly inside div. Yes. The next P is not directly inside div because it is first inside span, then inside, then P is there. So that is a problem, right? Then the next one also doesn't qualify because it is inside span. It's not directly inside div. Of course, whatever P's are there in this div, if you consider, in that this P is directly inside div, these two P's are not directly inside div. This P is directly inside div. This P is directly inside div. Whether it is outer div or inner div, it is directly inside div. Would you agree with me? How are we going to write? Now I will tell div. That's my first selector. Next I will tell P. But directly inside means, is it a descendant or is it a direct child? It's a direct child. And how do you establish direct child? You know it is greater than. So I will tell greater than. And then I'll put the declaration and put the properties as mentioned above. Cyan and the next one is brown. Wonderful. The moment I do that and I refresh, there you go. P directly inside div. P directly inside div. P inside nested div, but still directly only. P inside nested div, but still directly only. P directly inside div. Beautiful. Any confusion till this point of time? Now some of you will be thinking, sir, there was a styling applied to these P tags before. Now you gave one more rule. That rule was applied here and it has overridden the previous rule. Why is all this happening? Well, if you have such questions, wait till I take up specificity in CSS and all these questions will disappear. There is a reason why it is happening. But whatever was told, did we achieve it? 100% we did. Now what else, you might ask? Let us come to the next question, right? Again, try on your own first. Style the background color of all P's inside nested div. So first criteria is style all P's inside nested div, not the outer div. Okay, fine. As navy background color, pink as text color. Now, here when you told div, it did not care whether it is outer div or inner div. Wherever div was, it selected. But now he is telling it should be the inner div itself. It should be the nested div itself. That is the expectation. Which means only this division must be selected. How are we going to do that? First, let me just tell div. And then P. Right? Now, I have to establish a relationship between both. And what is he saying? That the style the background color of all P's. All means there should be descendant, that's all. Not, I don't care about direct child. If it's inside, it's enough. If it's directly inside or indirectly, I don't care. How do you establish that relationship of descendant? By leaving a space. Okay, I'll give the declaration. But if you just tell like this, then CSS will get confused that, hey, is it this div or that div? On both the divs it will apply. But what do I want? I wanted it to be only the inner div. Now how do I uniquely identify only this inner div? If you read the HTML carefully, this div has some more information to offer to you, which is it is telling that it belongs to a class called as nested div. Which means if I just tell div, both will get selected. But if I select a div based on the class that it belongs to, then it should not be a problem. Which means this div part I will remove. And instead of selecting it based on element, I will select it based on class, because you know the basic selectors. Element is there, class is there, ID is also there. How do you select based on class? Dot. What is the class name? Nested div. There's a small spelling mistake. As you can see, it is nested, 2 D's are there, but only 1 D we have put. Make it another D. Okay, great. So see, first select based on class. It will go and check. Is there an element with a class nested div? Yes, it selected this. Next, it is telling, hey, select piece. Okay, it will select piece. But what is the relationship? It should be descendants, which means it will go inside wherever piece are there. They're all the descendants. It will select it. And to that, it will apply the properties. And which is the property? Whatever they have told, which is the background color navy and the color is pink. So I will tell color is pink. The moment I do this, and the moment I refresh, you can notice it has applied. See, P inside nested div, P inside spam inside nested div, P inside span inside nested div, P inside nested div. But doesn't matter, they're all P inside nested div, they're all descendants of this nested div. How awesome is this? Next, what you might ask? Next, what if you ask me? Let us go to the last and final expectation. Select the background color of only the first P inside outer div. And color it some teal and maroon, that's fine. But what is he saying? This is my outer div. In that, this is my first P. Only this I should select. Which means uniquely I should select only this. Now how can I do that? There is actually a very fancy way in CSS in which you can select that, right? But I will speak about it a little later. Right now, with whatever knowledge that you have, how can you select that? Simple. Assign it a unique ID and select it based on the ID. So what I will do is I will go inside that P and there I will tell ID equal to, right, first outer div P. Outer div P I will say. Or it need not be so big. I will just remove that. And for first I will tell F. For outer div I will tell OD. And for P I will tell P. FODP. Any confusion till there? Now I will go back into my CSS. I'll save that first. And then I'm going to come back into the CSS, and here, now I want to select only this. I will select it based on the ID. How do you do that? How do you give ID selector? Starts with hash. What is the name of the ID? FODP. I will put my declaration. Inside that I am going to put the properties. So background color is teal and the color is maroon. If in case I do this, then if I refresh, only this should be changing, and as you can see, P directly inside div, first one. Any confusion till this point? So CSS selectors are created for a reason. It gives you a lot of control as to how you want to format your HTML page and how exactly the appearance must look like. So I hope this has deepened your understanding about the concept. Now let us charge forward and understand the other advanced selectors.